Hello everyone, welcome back to the session on memory management. In this session, in the previous sessions, we discussed about the basic concepts related to memory management. Followed with that, we discussed about something called as swapping concept. Followed with that, we discussed continuous memory management. So, so with the help of this particular concept, whatever we have discussed, now we understood that how internally the operating system swap the images, like whatever the processes that have been brought into the main memory for execution, how these have been stored back into the backing store and how they are brought again into the our RAM in order to execute in our main memory for execution purpose that we have seen in our swapping concept. And later on, in coming to mobile systems, we discussed that a swapping concept is not used in mobile systems. Rather, in place of backing store here, we use flash memories. So using flash memory, we try to store the information with respect to the application which we people are actually executing, isn't it? Now we also said that due to the shortage of storage amount of storage what we have, so flash memories cannot be used for continuous operation. There is a possibility they may get drained up and all. So here during this process, what we discussed is in mobile systems, whenever there is not sufficient free memory available, the operating system will ask a particular application which is consuming huge amount of memory to free some space or free some amount of memory. So if that particular application is able to do that, that's fine, well and good. But in case it is not able to do that, then definitely we people are going to, I mean, the operating system is going to similar terminate that particular process in between. It will interrupt the process from execution, and later on again it can be uploaded into your main memory for execution purposes. Okay, that we have discussed in this particular swapping. And later on in continuous memory allocation, we discuss how we can allocate the memory, that is your main memory RAM, your physical address, whatever we provide to the process, where we are actually storing this particular processes, how that can be provided in a continuous manner to one another respective processes that we are seeing. Apart from that, we also discussed about memory protection, how we can provide protection for these processes which are executing in the RAM from accessing other process memories. Every process will be allocated some slots, isn't it? And that slot should be used by that particular process. We should not interfere with other process slots. So how we can provide memory protection, that we have seen in the previous session, and then allocation already we have seen it. We have two different types, and same way fragmentation. So fragmentation also we discussed about external and internal fragmentation. And we also discussed that to overcome the external fragmentation, we are using a technique called as compaction. Okay, so what do you mean by compaction? It is nothing but within the memory, wherever the bits, small portion of bits that are free memory are available, that we will be collecting together and will make it as a single space. And that space we will allocate to one of the process for execution purpose. Actually, that is what we call compaction. How we can do that means, so that is possible only when we divide that particular process into different segments. Okay, so when we divide that particular process into segments, then only this particular problem can be overcome. Okay, so basically in compaction we have two different type of techniques. One is something we call it as segment, that is nothing but your segmentation, and another one is paging. So paging is the one what we use. So these two are the memory management techniques which are used to overcome this particular external fragmentation problem. Okay. So today in this particular session, we people are going to discuss about segmentation, and followed with that, we'll discuss about the paging concepts. So in the paging, just want to refer it up, we'll discuss about the basic method, what we actually use. Okay, so till here the session will be completing, and the next session will discuss about the hardware support and the remaining portion of your part, okay, part one. So let's begin the session now. Segmentation. So briefly, what do you mean by segmentation here is nothing but it's a memory management technique. It is one of the memory management scheme what we actually use, okay, for storing the information. Whatever the processes are there, we are storing. Basically, let me explain you the definition. What do you mean by segment is nothing but dividing into parts. Suppose you have a one piece of chocolate. Okay, you people, what you are going to do is you will be breaking them into segments. That is nothing but small parts. Okay. Now it's not a fixed size, it can be a variable size. Now part, each separate part, whatever you are having with respect to that particular chocolate, we call it as a segment. Okay. So in the same way, coming to your programming language here, whatever the program you people are writing it, basically that will be converted into segments here. That will be represented in a format of segments. Okay. Why we are dividing means, for example, you people are writing a simple C program. You people basically writing a C program. So how you write it? I'm just representing only the overview of it. I'm not writing any program here. Like something. Okay, fine. We'll take this. So something like we are including something called as header files here, isn't it? And then you people might be declaring some global variables. And after global variables, you people might be entering into your main method. So within that, you people might be declaring some variables, okay, some functions. And after that, let us suppose you are writing some function, you are calling some function with parameters or without something. Not sure, just representing. Okay, just this is only for overview. I'm just talking about. Let us suppose you have written some functions like this. It's not only C programming, but basically C is comfortable. Everyone is comfortable with C, so I'm just explaining this. Even it can be a Java program too, or it can be other program. Now, if you look at here, this particular program, whatever the template I have written here, they actually whenever you people are storing this, you will store it with something called .c extension, isn't it? Something like xyz.c. But basically, whenever you view it, you will see the entire program. Whenever you open that particular program, you will be seeing it. But internally, within the system, the operating system will not store this information sequentially. Like as the way you are seeing, this is not the way it is going to store. It will actually divide this particular program into segments. Like header files might be located somewhere else. The global variable might be separated and located somewhere else here. And coming to the main function, this will be a one particular segment here. And coming to the what we call function one is a separate segment, function two is a separate segment. In the same way, your header file is a separate segment, and this global variable is also. Means every part is chopped into different small pieces. That is what we call it as segments. And these segments will be stored in your memory in different locations. Yeah, yes. But whenever you want to access, you want to see that particular program, the operating system will try to bring these segments together and arrange them in a sequential order, and then it will represent you in front of your screen. This is the way it actually works. That is the technique that has been used by this segmentation. Okay, I hope it's very clear. So that is even the diagram what you people are seeing here is related to that. Now this is something related to your square root program. Let us suppose you people have written any small program where you're trying to find a square root of a value 4. So basically everyone knows how to write a C program for square root. So you'll be including something called some subroutines and all. So here if you see it, this is a logical address will consist of your program. Whatever the program we are writing, what we said is CPU will be generating a logical address where we are storing it. But how it will be stored is in the format of segments here. For example, this is your main program. Yeah. Whatever the code you have written in within the main method, that will be present in this particular segment. Okay. Next, coming to symbol tables, this is related to if any kind of symbols you are using. Like for example, you are using symbols like curly braces. You might be using open brace, I mean open bracket, close bracket, quotations within printf scanner. All these will be represented in this particular. These are all of symbols, and all these symbols we are going to store it in a symbol table. You know what is the main purpose of stack? I think basically you know that all the variables, whatever you declare. So within the main program, if you people are declaring any variables, that will be stored here, I think. Yes. Square root, I think you understand what you mean the square root. This is a method. This is a function, right? So your function, you people are calling it from some hash include math.h, right? You're trying to get that particular square root function from hash include math.h. What is that? That is an header file. So that header file will be represented somewhere here subroutine. Let us assume that is a subroutine where we are storing it up. So you can understand. See, Actually, you have written a single program in a sequential order, but that has been chopped into different parts here. These are what we call it as segments. Basically, these segments will have a name and a length. So whenever you people want to, means whenever the operating system want to access them, it will represent with the something called like here. It's already represented segment number and offset. Okay, fine. This is not number. This is name. A small mistake here. So what is saying here is every time every segment can be accessed using a segment name. Segment name, comma length. So every segment, okay. So these all segments, what you people are seeing here, every segment, these can be accessed only with the help of with a pair of two things, that is segment name. So every box, whatever you people are seeing here in this, will have a name. You can see here, stack, subroutine, square root, main program. Apart from that, it will have length. Maybe, okay, length is nothing but how much, what is the size of this particular main program. Maybe like, something 20 KB, square root, maybe 50 KB. So that in that way, the length is actually produced. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about here. This is a name here, not number. So here, what happens here automatically, since we are saying that every segment is represented with a name and length, so the addresses whichever are being specified for them, they will consist of two pair of quantities. That is nothing but segment name and offset. But basically, it's very big. It becomes, since we know the operating system can understand only one language, that is zeros and ones, definitely, isn't it? So if you are talking about, if you represent a segment with a segment name, the operating system finds it very difficult to understand that. So here mostly the programmers, when they write programs related to this particular division of segments, so they use segment number. In place of segment name, we will be using segment number and an offset. Okay. So this, please remember this segment number and offset, because this is going to be used in your paging technique. So when we will be discussing paging, this will come up. So based on this technique only, we will be working on that. So please remember this. So segment number and offset. Okay. So the logical address. The logical address. Who will generate the logical address? CPU. The CPU will generate a logical address for a process, and that logical address will consist of two parameters. Till now, what we discussed is CPU is generating a logical address. We are comparing that with the limit, isn't it? Limit. And if it is within the, if it is less than limit, then we are mixing it up. I mean, we are binding with the relocation register, isn't it? Relocation register. Relocation register is nothing but a base address. And finally, you are getting the physical address, where you people are actually storing the processes, isn't it? Now we are going in depth related to this logical address. Now, till now we said that it's a CPU generates the logical address. That's it. But now this logical address actually consists of what it means. It consists of a pair of value. The first, within the pair, the first value is segment number, and the next value is offset. We will be using it. Don't worry. Offset. Yeah. So this is the example related to your segmentation. So since I told you like a program I have shown you. So here also what we are doing is he is saying that a program is there. You people are writing a program. So when this segmentation actually takes place, so whenever you people are writing a program and you are compiling it, your compiler will break your program into segments like this. Yes, the segment. We know that what the technically what we say, the compiler converts the source code into object code. That is what we know. But here, as per internal system, it will not only convert into object code. It will, after conversion, it will divide them, or it will split that entire code into segments, and that how it will be segments separated in this way. Okay. This is the way it is going to be separated. Like for example, whatever the code you people have written, this is comes under one segment. If you declare any, as I already stated earlier, so whatever the global variables if you're declaring, that is comes under segment 2. And if you're using or allocating memory dynamically using MLOC or CLOC, something like that, you are using it, then methods, then we'll be using heap. So this comes under segment 3. Then stag we are using, this is already there here, you can see here. So this is your segment 4. So any libraries, whatever we are using, we want to be representing here. So that comes under segment 5. This is the way how your program is split up or chopped into different segments. But who is exactly doing that? Compiler. The compiler is doing that particular task. Okay. So you people have to remember two things here. Whatever the libraries we people are okay compiled. Okay, when we are linking during compile time, that might be assigned separate segments. Like you might be saying here nowhere I have represented something called as library. So if compile time you people are including those libraries, so separate segment will be assigned here. Okay, and as we told that since it's very difficult for the operating system to remember these names, since it can understand only zeros and ones, so we have represented sequence numbers. That sequence numbers are represented by the most important part here is loader. I don't know how many of you remember in the previous session we discussed about one diagram where you have a source program. Here you will be having a compile time, then you have a load time, then you have link time. So that load time is this. Loader is the one who will give numbers to these particular segments. Like this is like something, this is 1, 2, this is 3, 4. And remember, this is not in a sequential order. Like for example, you are writing something like hashing. So this is a header file, then global variable main. So don't think that the segment number will be assigned for header files as one, global variable second. No, that depends upon the way how we are using it. That totally depends upon the operating system. It may allocate a main program the last number. Like for example, this is 5. Okay, it may allocate the symbol as 3. It may allocate the subroutine as 2. There is no fixed thing and it is not sequential. That is the best part. So what happens, we can store this information segments anywhere, wherever we require, but the operating system will get it for us whenever we want to see that particular program. So this is the logical address CPU is generating. So you can see that logical address consists of different segments. See, this is the actual view, how it is exactly represented here. If you can see here, okay, how it is represented. Since I told you that numbers will be provided, here it is providing. Like if you can see here, subroutine something like methods. You people functions, whatever you people are writing, that is what comes from subroutine. It has been given the name as segment 0. Then we have something called as okay, square root has been given. So square root will come in the main function, main program. But he has been, this square root function has been given to separate segment. Why? From the particular file math.h, we are going to use this function. So he has been given segment 1. Then the main program is given segment 2, stag is given segment 3 and 4. Now, with this, every operating system will have a segment table. Whenever segmentation is implemented, we will be having a segment table. Why we have segment table is nothing but concept is same. Whatever we discussed for memory protection, the same concept is applied. So here what will happen is every segment number, whatever is there, that will act as the index. Every segment, remember, understand what I'm saying. Every segment number, whatever I'm represented here, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, this will act as segment. Okay, this is the index. I think you know what you mean by index. In the textbook, we have indexes, which helps us to find out our specific topic. Now, this index will refer to 2 points. So the table consists of 2 different columns. The first one related to the limit and the next related to base. Okay, means the segment 0, we can store this particular segment from which particular base? 1400. What do you mean by base here? Nothing but the register, means this is a memory address. And whereas coming to the limit here, what is the limit for this particular segment? 1000, means from 1400 to 2400, in between we can store this particular segment. Whatever the data is present in that segment, we can store here. Apart from that, we cannot access any other. If you talk about here the segment 1, what is the operating system? This is given by the dispatcher. Remember, dispatcher is providing all the details in the operating system. So 6300 is given. From 6300, what is the limit for the segment 1? 400. Depending upon the size, he is giving this limit. So means from 6300, so plus 400, how much we have? So 6700. So from 6300 to 6700, segment 1 can be assigned. You can see here 6300 to 6700, you are having segment 1. What about segment 0? 1400 to 2400. See here, segment 0. In this way, within your physical memory, your RAM, the information. So this is the logical. So CPU is generating this. Your program is chopped into different pieces, segments. Now CPU is generating a logical address. that address is mapped with the help of a segment table, and there, wherever the location we are getting, there we are storing the information within your physical memory. I hope it okay. So how it works means here he did not explain you right how this mapping is going to take place. We'll see in the next slide how this process will take place. I hope it's clear right now in here. That's the user space. Now this is basically architecture what we are using. This you people might have seen a lot of time in your previous slides or previous sessions. Okay, so here what you can see here, we do have a segment table as I told you. So in the previous diagrams, we have seen something like this, I think. We have here a CPU, okay, and we said the CPU will generate a logical address. CPU generates a logical address, which will be compared with here. Here we have limit address, limit register. So limit, I think you people might know. And here we have base. So in that slide, we might have written relocation. Base and relocation are same. So this is your base register. So what we are saying, whatever the logic address is generated, it should be less than the limit. Then only it will be moving here, and that will be combined with the base. And whichever the value we are getting, that is what we are calling it as physical address. In case if the logical address generated is greater than limit, then definitely what happens? We are going to get a trap. Same concept. But now we are going in depth in this. Our main focus right now is on this particular part. This logical address we are talking about in this particular scenario. See here. So here this is a logical address. CPU is generating a logical address. But what we are saying in this particular scenario is this is your logical address. Now what we are saying is this particular logic address, whatever is generated, this is consists of two things. Already we know that I already explained it. That is your segment number and offset. Okay. So D is nothing but displacement. Other name for the displacement is offset. That is what we actually use it. S is nothing but your segment number. Okay. Now this segment number, what did we say in the previous one? That this segment number will act as an index. This segment number will act as index for the segment table. Now here from that index wherever located, we will get the base information and limit information. Okay, so based on that what we will do is the displacement will be transmitted here. This displacement is what we are saying that value generated by the CPU, and it should be less than the limit like as I told you here. Whatever the logic address is generated should be less than limit. Same functionality we are applying here. So here the displacement is your address. That address should be less than whatever the limit is given. If it is true, we'll command that to this particular base. This base and this particular thing. And whatever the value we are getting, that is your physical address in your main memory. In case this value D is greater, we are getting it. Definitely this is a trap. It's not possible to allocate a memory, physical memory. So it will represent a trap here and finally it will come out. So CPU has to generate again a new one. Okay. So I hope it is understood for you people. So the segment table is what we call it as the segment table consists of two columns. The first column is segment table base register. Another one is segment table length register. That is nothing but your limit. So based on that, this particular thing actually works. It's very easy, isn't it? So here, that is what he's saying in this particular. So same I'll show you with the help of in the next slide. Same diagram. Here. Okay. So what happens here? Right, I'll show you like for example, segment 0 is there. Segment 0, this is a segment table. Now logical address space is created for segment 0. Let us suppose he has created something called as 340. Okay. For segment 0, the CPU has generated address of 340. What is the address he has generated? 340. Now this 340 will be means segment 0 means 0 acts as the index in the segment table. So from here, I mean from this particular location 0, we will find out the information related to base and limit. Okay, segment 0 has a base of 1400, limit is 1000. What is the value generated by CPU? 340. 340 is less than 1000. Yes, it's true. So we can give this to the base. So here 1400 plus 340. So how much we are going to get? 1740. Means here, somewhere here, you will be having 1740. So here you will be allocating segment 0. Now this is entire one process. Remember, this is entire one process. Okay. So within one process we are actually storing. Okay. So here we have segment 3. So segment 3, let us suppose it is having something called as 300. Segment 3, okay, let us, okay, don't use this, we will use some other value. Let us suppose segment 3, the CPU has generated a value of 3000. Okay, so segment 3, where it is within the index, we'll see here. So what is the base we have here for segment 3? 3200. But what is the limit we do have? 1100, that's it. But what is the CPU generated address we have here? 3000. But 3000 is greater than 1100, your limit. So here the condition fails. It will enter into a trap. This is the way how we can try to determine. So here, if now again the CPU will ask, the CPU will be asked to generate another one. So CPU will generate another number, something like 500. So 500 is less than 1100. So we will add to 3200 plus 500. So how much we have? 3700. So this is the physical address where we will be storing this tag. So where is 3700? It will be somewhere here. Yeah, this location. This is something 3700. So here the information will be stored. So this is the way how this segmentation actually works. And remember that segmentation overcomes the problem related to your external fragmentation. Okay. So no, sorry, not external fragmentation. That making sure that the pages means the physical memory is non-continuous. You might have understood till now. We did not. We earlier what we used to say. This slot is given to process P1. So whatever the data related to whatever the segments related to P1 is there, that should be located in this segment only, one after another. Like this is segment. Okay, I will draw the diagram and show you. Earlier, what exactly happened is, so this is the RAM, right? This is your main memory. So here it is occupied operating system. So this slot we have given for P1. What does that mean now here in this particular scenario? So that means P1 will consist of, let us suppose, 7 segments. All those will be here only, like segment, this is segment 0, segment 1, segment 2. So in this way, what happens if you don't have sufficient memory, means this slot is suppose 400 MB and this process requires 500 MB. So it's not possible to allocate. This is 400 MB. So it's not possible to allocate that particular process. That's the problem. But when we divide them into different parts, into different segments, it becomes easy. So we will have a lot of space. We can allocate anywhere. Wherever we want, we can allocate it. That's the best part of this particular segmentation. So what will happen? So maybe the segment 0 of a process 1 is stored here. Segment 2 might be here. Segment 3 might be here. Segment 7 might be here. In this way, this actually process works. So this is what actually happens in your segmentation. So this actually overcomes that continuous requirement of a memory has been overcome by this segmentation. But external and internal fragmentation does exist in this particular scenario also. That wastage of memory will be there and we cannot eliminate that. To overcome that, we will be using another concept called as paging. Yes, paging is actually a memory management technique. What is the main purpose of this? Is nothing but the physical address space of the process whichever we are using, making it non-continuous. Means the way the segmentation works, this also works in the same way. But the best part of this particular paging is it overcomes external fragmentation. Means it doesn't require something called as compaction. It totally tries to overcome the external fragmentation, and since external fragmentation is not there, we don't have to use the technique of compaction. That is the best part of paging. However, internal fragmentation will exist. Remember that internal fragmentation, internal fragmentation will exist for sure. That will be there. Okay, whatever the technique you might want to use, you can use it, but internal fragmentation will be there for sure. And apart from that, it also tries to overcome the problem. whatever the problem we have faced with the main memory related to this external fragmentation, that fragmentation, that problem exists in your backing store also, in your external hard drive. That problem is also being solved by this particular paging technique. Why? Because we can't use compaction for your external hard disk. Why we can't use for external hard disk? Because the speed, the data transfer rate of that particular backing store is very, very less when compared to your RAM. For example, your RAM is having a data speed of 300 MB per second. So your external hard disk might have a speed of data transfer rate of 50 MB per second. It's lot of differences there. So it's not possible to apply this compaction technique. That's a problem. So to overcome that, this technique is used, something called as paging. Okay, so coming to the basic method, what we can apply here. So the basic technique, what we can apply in this particular thing is nothing but here we will be dividing. So the basic concept is very clear. Please understand carefully. This is required. The basic concept is that you people will divide. So initially we have a CPU. This is your logical address. Let us suppose this is your logical address. This is your physical address. Now, your logical address, whatever you people are having, you will divide that into fixed size blocks. Yeah, whatever the logical address created by the CPU will divide into fixed size blocks. Okay, that we call it as pages. Remember, logical side, CPU generates the logical address. So that logical address, whatever is there, that will be divided into fixed size blocks. We call it as pages. Whereas coming to the physical memory, what we have, this also we will be dividing into the same size, fixed size memory. And here we call them with a different name called as frames. Just names are different, but the concept is same. Okay. And whenever we people are dividing them, this particular frame, always the size of that particular power should be a power of 2. Whatever the size we are dividing, maybe 4 slot, 5 slot, 10 slot, it should be a power of 2. Like for example, you have a memory here, each one you are dividing into something like 512 bytes. So that means it is something 2 to the power 9, I guess. Not sure about it, but I think it is 2 to the power 9. Suppose you have divided 2, so every slot is of 2 to the power 9. 2 to the power means it should be a power of 2. Or else if you people are dividing the size into 256 bytes, this is 256. 256, 256. So it is nothing but 256. This is the way, means it should always be a power of 2. Why we are doing it? In the segmentation, we discussed that the logical address will consist of two things, something called as S and D. S is nothing but segment number, D is displacement. Same way here also we will be having logical address, the same concept. So if you want to divide your logical address into this particular, so here we'll use page number, P and D. So in paging we use P and segmentation we use S. Remaining concept is same. So here we'll be using D only. So what do you mean by P here is nothing but page number. Okay. So if you want to divide this two means the logical address into P and D, definitely whatever the address generated, that should be a power of 2 to 2. Then only it is possible to divide that P and D, or else it's not possible. That's the reason what he's saying is whatever the memory we are allocating, that should be a power of 2. Okay, so 16 bytes if you are taking, it will be 2 to the power 4. So it should be a power of 2. Based on that only we can perform the operation. That I will show you with the help of example so that it becomes easy for you. So I think, but only people have to keep in mind is frames and pages. Pages are used for logical. CPU generates logical address. That we divide into equal size frames. Okay, equal size blocks, that we call it as pages. Same concept applied to your physical memory. But physical memory is different from your logical memory. So we are calling it as frame. That is what you have to keep in mind, because we will be using this concept here, frame and page. We should not get confused. So in the one more point which need to be considered here is your backing store, whatever is there, that also you will be dividing that into fixed size blocks. What is the size? For example, this logical address, this is 256 bytes. Same way, this physical memory also should be of 256 bytes. And whereas coming to this particular concept, something called as, just a minute. Okay, so here coming to this tracking store also, every block should be of 256 bytes. And here also it should be 256, 250, 256. Means everything should be of equal sizes. That way we are actually splitting it up. Okay, so even though we are applying paging, external fragmentation we can overcome here, but internal fragmentation does exist as I stated earlier. So here, so since I told you that we will be having your logical address consists of P and D. So P is your page number, D is your page offset. So here the page table will be, so we will be having a page table, like segment table, we have a page table. Page table will again contain some values, but not two columns. We will not be having two columns here, only a single column we are going to have. Okay, so single column, it will be a single column here that will consist of the frame number. Okay, the address of the frame. Frame is related to your physical memory. So this will be page number will act as a index. And from that index, you will get the address of your physical memory that we will add with this particular displacement. And then finally, you're going to get the physical address where you need to store that particular process. Okay. So the diagram is presented here so that it becomes clear for you people how to get that. Let me show you first. That's the diagram. Okay, so let's focus a bit in this because this is important. How to calculate? So how we can do it? So here the page size, whatever we are actually generating now, that will be defined by the hardware. This is the page number. Okay, this is a CPU generates logical address that is generated by the hardware. What is saying? Now here the size of the page, as I told you, it should be a power of 2, isn't it? Now how to determine now power of 2 means you people have generated a logical address. Okay, how we can convert that into page number and page offset? How we can split it means, let us suppose you have a logical address of 2 to the power n. That is nothing but if you have 512, so this is 2 to the power 9. So m is equal to 9. Okay. Now, apart from that, if you have a page size is given. Page size is given as 2 to the power n. Let us suppose 4. So that means it is equal to 2 square. So here n is equal to how much? 2. Then the higher order of 2 to m minus 2. Okay, the higher order of 2 m minus n will be represented as your page number and the lower order n bits will be represented as your offset. Remember, please remember, understand this. So 512 bytes, the logical address is generated. Now we are going to split that into two. That is your page number offset. How to get the page number means first you convert this into 2 to the power 2 to the power of 2. So that is nothing but 2 to the power 9. So here m is equal to 9. I am representing with a variable m. Now he is saying that every page will have 4 bytes. Every page is having 4 bytes. Convert that into power of 2. So this I am representing with n equal to 9. Page. This is the page size. This is page size. This is the address generated. Now here what is saying is how we can determine P here is nothing but the difference between the higher order bits of M and N represents page number and the lower order bits of N represents the page offset. So this I will explain with the help of example so that you people can understand easily. So timing, you just remember how you people are getting that m minus n is nothing but higher order m minus n bit represents the page number and the lower order n bit represents the page offset. Okay, so that we will see in this. Okay, let me explain this. After that I'll explain the example so that you people can understand. So here the same concept, you might have seen this similar kind of table in your segmentation also. Previously also we have discussed in memory protection. So what happens here, the CPU is generating a logical address. This entire thing is what logical address that we are splitting into page number and displacement. This page number will be acting as a what index here to the page table, and this page table will consist of the frame number. This frame number will be clubbed with your address, means displacement whatever we are generating. Okay, and after adding that, whatever the value you get it, that is the physical address, and there we are going to store our information. maybe the segments or maybe the process table or process data, whatever it might be, that we are going to store in that particular location. This we will be seeing with the help of a small example. I hope it's very clear till here. Yeah, see, see, same like your segmentation, paging is also being used. So we have page 0, page 1, page 2, page 3. So page 0 will consist of some values like A, B, C, D. That I will show you in the next slide. So page 0 is there. So 0 represents page number. So this page number. So it is referring. This is your frame F. In the previous diagram, we have represented in the page table F, right? Okay, let me show you one more time so that it can. Yeah, this F. Whatever you people are seeing here, na, this particular F, that is what been represented here. Yeah, this F. So there that particular page. So here F represents the frame number. So frame number is referring to what? Physical memory. So wherever that one is there, we will be placing that page 0. Page 1. So page 1 index. It is referring to frame 4. So frame 4 will have where we are rotating page 1. This is the way whole works. Well, internal working part is there. This is only for the mere understanding of you people. We have this has been represented here. Okay, so let's begin with a small example so that it becomes easy for you people. So I'm going to take an example and I'm going to solve it up. So please listen carefully this diagram. Carefully see this diagram here. We have a logical memory here. Okay, forget about the content, whatever is written, just focus on this. We have a logical memory, we have a page table, we have a physical memory. The physical memory is having from 0 to 30, this is 31, last one. So it is a 32 byte. Your physical memory is of size 32 bytes. Whereas coming to logical memory, it is a 16 byte. Why? From 0 to 15, each one is 1 byte. So 0 to 15 means it is 16 bytes. And here, whereas coming to your physical memory, it is 32 bytes. We do have a page table. Now here, how many pages we have in a logical address? First you determine here. This represents your page 0. This is your page 1. This is your page 2. This is your page 3. Okay, make it clear. So there are 4 pages here, exactly, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Internally represented as 0, 1, 2, 3. Now, within this, what is saying, this, whatever you people are saying, this is the logical address 0. Okay, this is whatever is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're saying, this is the logical address generated. Okay, and within this is the content. A, B, C, D is the content which we need to store in your physical memory. Now we need to map this logical address into your physical memory. So for that we are doing. So here the page number is 0. So page number consists. Now the every page size. What is the size of every page we have here is 4 bytes. Because here every page 0 contains how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one is 1 byte. 4 bytes. 4. Same way your physical memory is also divided into same. 4 bytes, 4 bytes, 4 bytes. Now, here, listen carefully. Now, we need to map this page 0 in one of these particular frames. These are the frames. These are the pages. This is frame 0. This is frame 1, frame 2, frame 3. Since 32, no? 32 by 4, how much? Each page, each frame is of size 4. So 4, 8. So total 8 frames. So means we are starting from 0 means it will be 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. I hope it's very clear till here. Now based on this, I will explain you the entire problem here. First, we need to determine based on this, whatever the content is there. So let me show you, since we can't do the working perfectly here, I will show you here so that it becomes clear for you. I have written and I've executed it. Just we'll go through this so that it becomes clear for you people. Yeah. Okay. See here. So here, this is what I have. So as I told you, this is represents the logical address here. This is the data which we need to store in your physical memory, and we have a page here. Okay, these are the page 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the page table. So since we have 4 pages, so 4 here, and it refers to the frame. So page 0 is represented by which frame here? This is frame S, represented by frame 5. Same way, 1 represents page 6, 2 represents, page 2 is referring frame 1, page 3. You can see it is not in a sequential. It can be in any order. Now this is the 32 bytes. What is the task given here? Whatever the values are provided here, that we need to store into this particular location. Okay, how we can do it? So let's see. So initially, based on this, we have written something like, what are the total pages given in a logical address? How many pages are given here? 4. 0, 1, 2, 3 means 4 pages are given. Okay, so 4 pages means we can convert it to the power of 2, 2 to the power 2. So this is your n value, n equal to 2, isn't it? Yes. Next, coming to the logical address, the size of this particular logical address, how much I told you? 16 bytes. Why? Each one is 1 byte and we are representing from 0 to 15. Here we are representing from 0 to 15. So that is totally how many bytes? 16 bytes. Yes. So can we represent again in the power of 2? So 2 to the power 4 if I am not wrong. Yes. So here what is the value of m we are going to get? 4. You got the value of n? 2. Got the value of m? 4. Good. Come here. So that is what been represented here. So here what is the value we got? So what is the value we got here? N value as 2, M value as 4. And what is the page size? Every page consists of only 4 data. So each means 4 bytes. Now based on this, we need to map it up. How we can map it up? Let's see. So number of frames, when coming to your physical memory, how many we do have? 8. Okay, 8 because 32 bytes now. So we each frame consists of 4. So how many frames we do have? 4 8 is 32. Means one frame is having how many bytes? 4 bytes. So what is the memory? 32 bytes we are having. So how many frames will get? Cross multiplication. 32 into 1 by 4. So that is equal to 8. Okay. Now see here now. So the total physical memory 30 bytes. That is what we are representing. So every frame is having 4 bytes. Still here it's clear, I think. Now we need to map. How we can map? Now if you look at here, page 0 is referring to the frame 5. Remember this, please, because I can't show you in the full screen here. Yeah, it's not possible to screen full screen. So remember, page 0 is referring to which particular frame? Frame 5. Good. Now, come to the bottom. I want to map right now the logical address 0. So logical address 0 in the sense where we are representing that. This is a logical address. Well, I will explain here only. This is a logical address. Now, this logical address 0 belongs to which page? Page number 0. Now, what about the offset here? Offset means represented as 0, 1, 2, 3. Offsets are represented with 0, 1, 2, 3. When you come to the next new page, again it will start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. Again, page 2, new page. So it will start from 0, offset 0, 1, 2, 3. Again 0, 1, 2, 3. These are what we are calling it as page offset. That we are writing D now, we are writing something like page number and displacement. That displacement is nothing but this one 0, 1, 2, 3, and this we will use for calculation purpose. So here whatever the diagram you people have seen, that I am going to show you here diagrammatically. Okay, that after solving it. So here, logical address 0 is present in which particular frame I said? It belongs to which particular page? It belongs to page 0. And what is the offset for that? 0. So here I will show you here. So we have written something A, B, C, D, isn't it? So 0, 1, 2, 3. E, F, G, H, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 0 represents, so this is what I'm trying to calculate for this. What is the logical address? 0. So it belongs to which page? Page 0. What is the offset for this particular variable? 0. Now, so simple formula what we can use to map to physical address here is physical address mapping whatever is given in that table. So within the page table, 0 is mapped to 5. That 5 into what is the size of a frame? Every frame is having equal size 4. Plus What is the offset we have got here? 0. So that is 20. So 5 into 4, 20 plus 0 is 20. I hope it's, you people might have understood this. Let me go a bit lower so that we can calculate. Now next I want to calculate, so I think you might have understood where this particular A has to store in your physical memory at location 20. I will show you in the next page. Next we have logical address, this one, 1. Logical address 1. It belongs to which page? Page number 0. Yes, page number 0. What is the offset of this particular B? 1, isn't it? 0, 1, 2, 3, I told you. Whenever new page come, it will start from again 0. So 0, 1. So the page offset is 1, page number is 0. Now we need to do the calculation. What is the formula we have? Whichever the table map that particular page is mapping, it is mapping to which frame here? 5. So 5 into, what is the size of the frame? 4 bytes, 4 plus 1. 1 is the offset. So 21. That 21 location you will be storing the variable, I mean the value B. Next we'll calculate C. C is nothing but here the logical address is 2. So page number 0. What is the offset we have? So 0, 1, 2. So we are representing 2. Okay, don't get confused. This is the logical address left side. Because if you might get confused, this is 2, offset is 2. No. But if you come to the next page, here page 2, you are having something called as 4. But the page offset will be 0, not 4. Remember that. So here we are representing 2. Same formula, 5 into 4 plus 2, that is 22. Means 20, 21, 22, 23 will consist of A, B, C, D, your logical address. Let me show you. Here it is. See, I am representing, see here, 20, 21, 22, 23, A, B, C, D, you got it. Let's go to the next page. What is the next page we have? This one. So next page, logical address is 4, isn't it? It belongs to which page? Page 2. Oh, sorry, page 1. 0 and 1. Now this is page 1. So this is page 1. What is the offset we do have? Not 4. Offset is 0. Whenever a new page comes, the offset starts from this. So we are representing with 0. Same formula. Now here within the page table, we are in a new page, page number 1. So page number 1. So 1 is indexing to which frame? 6. So here we need to multiply with 6. 6 into, what is the size of the each frame we have? 4 plus offset. What is the offset we have? 0. 4 6 is 24 plus 0, that is equal to 24. So E, the value E will be stored at location 24, that is somewhere here, 24. Same way you can calculate the remaining. If you talk about F, let's talk about F now. So let me erase and write it first so that it becomes clear for you people. So we were discussing about now A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay. So A, B, C, D completed. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we are right now on page 1 and I want to store F. So this is, what is the logical address we have here? 5. What is the page it belongs to? 1. And what is the offset? E is 0. So F is 1. G is 2. H is 3. Offset. So page offset is 1. So same. Now within the page table, we have seen that 0 belongs to 5. 1 belongs to 6. So 6 is the frame number. So 6 into, what is the size of each frame? 4. 6 into 4 plus 1. So that you are going to get 25. So in 25 you are storing F. In the same way you people are going to remaining you are going to perform. So you will be storing as E, F, G and H. In a similar manner, you will be going for the next step. What is the next step we have? So we have completed A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Now within the table we have page 2. I, J, K, L. That we are going to map. So this belongs to page 2. So page 2 is referring to which frame number? 1. So 1 into frame size plus offset will always be 0. Sorry, not for this. Here. So here the offset will be always 0, 1, 2, 3. So that you are going to do. So 1 into 4 plus 0 is 4. Same way you people can execute and you people can practice it up. So you can understand. So you people will be getting the value something like this. So if you look at here, after A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L did not come in this particular sequence. It got away into frame 1. So first value, whatever you're having, that is stored in segment. That segment is stored in frame 5. not in frame 0 or frame 1, because that is what we are saying. The memory, wherever we are storing the process related information, that is not continuous. And because of this only, we can avoid external fragmentation. There will not be external fragmentation, but internal fragmentation does exist. I will tell you how. I hope it is very clear. So IJKL will come here, and since here the page 3 is referring to 2, after 1, 2, so definitely in a sequential way, so M and OP will come here. You please practice this. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. You can ping me up, so I will respond to your doubts. Okay, I hope it's very clear with this. Fine, let me close this. Yeah. Now here, what is saying, internal fragmentation exists. How that exists, that I'll explain, and then we'll stop this particular session. Here, let us suppose we have a page size of 2048 bytes. So here the page size is 4. Now he is saying, assume the page size is 2048 bytes. And here we have a process size of 72,766. So here the process size is 16 bytes. Here he is having this much. So how many total pages we requirement? If you divide 7,200,766 by 2048, you will get something 35.14 something. Means 35 frames. This frame, 35 frames plus one additional frame is required of 2048 bytes. Among that 2048, you will be using only 1086 bytes. Remaining will be free. How? 2048 into 38. How many frames will require? 35. If you do it, you'll get some value here in 72,000 something. That you minus from this, you will get this amount. So this is the value which you are going to use. Remaining out of 2048, 1086, if you remove it, you'll get some 900 something. Okay, 900 plus something you're going to get. That much amount we are not using it. That's getting wasted. So what he's saying is, for every n frames, for every, sorry, n pages, we require n plus 1 frame. And this one frame, whatever we are saying here, for every n page, these are the pages, for every n pages, we require n plus 1. Among them, the last one, plus 1, what we are doing, we will not be utilized 100%. Only half of it, 50%, 40% we might be using. Remaining will be vacated. That will be left as it is. Okay, so that will not be utilized by the process. So that amount is what we call it as internal fragmentation. Like as I told you, process P, he requires 10 MB, and you people have allocated to him 12 MB because we have a fixed slot 12 MB. So how much process P1 will access? 10 MB is going to access. Whatever 2 MB, it's free. He is not going to utilize. And neither we can allocate that 2 MB to some other process because it has been assigned to this particular process. So that is what we call it as internal fragmentation. So that fragmentation problem exists even in this paging technique, but external fragmentation we are able to overcome. So this is all for today's session. You please try to solve that problem, okay, and practice it so that you people can get a clear idea how we are going to do that, so that tomorrow when we are explaining, that becomes easy for you people to understand. So here this is so here what is saying, whatever we discussed till now, that is representing in a format of a page table. How internally system does this? Initially we will be having free frames like this, and we have page number. So whenever a page number comes, that page number will be allocated one of the frames. These are the free frames what we have, 14, 13 this. So when page 0 came, we have allocated the free frame to 14. When 1 came, we have allocated to 13. 2 came, allocated to 18. 3 came, we have allocated to 20. What about 15 means? Till now we got only 3 pages. No, I mean 4 pages. Whenever fifth page will come, we'll allocate it till that particular frame. Since that is not there, that is what is been represented. So here the frame is empty. So this is the page table. This is the way how it actually maps. Means earlier we started working using that, but whenever that particular page comes, that will be mapped to the frame by the operating system. We are not going to do. Only for understanding purpose, we have solved that problem. But internally, this will be done by your operating system. So this is all for your today's session. I hope you people have understood perfectly. If not, you people can ask me the doubts. You can ping me up. I'll respond to this. Thank you. Thank you for watching.